Joe the Multi-Boxer, and today I'm going to show you how to set up Diablo 3 with IS Boxer. So first of all, in the inner space menu down here, make sure that you have Diablo 3 in the game list. If you do not, then select Add Game and let's put it there. Normally you can just drag the desktop shortcut straight into the Add Game window, but this is going to set up the launcher, and to make it simpler on you, remove the launcher part and make it just Diablo3.exe. That's the game client. Under parameters, you're going to need to put in -launch, just like that. You can use the game launcher, but a lot of people seem to be confused just because the launcher window comes up. So just point it right at the Diablo3.exe. Alright, and then once you've got that, you can see here it is in the menu. Go to the Wizards menu in IS Boxer and select Quick Setup Wizard. Which game would you like to set up? Diablo 3. On this, which characters will form this team? You don't have to put your actual character names for Diablo 3, so I'm just going to name them D3, 1, 2, and 3. You may have to pick Diablo 3 from this list here. You can see it automatically picked a skip launcher game profile in the game profile box. That's normal for Diablo 3. That's good. Add character to team. Do the same for D3, 2, 3, and 4. Since I'm playing 4, maybe you only have 2 or 3. That's fine. Choose a name for your team. I'm going to name mine D3 Quad. I'm just playing 4 Diablo 3 characters. You can name it whatever you like, something that you will recognize as being this team. So this is the window layout style page. You can pick pretty much any of the default styles. If you don't like any of these exactly, then you can change it after the wizard. But go through and pick one. These are generated for your monitors and the number of characters that you have. So pick one that looks good to you. I'm going to go with this one for the demo. I'm going to have one main area, and then whichever windows are not in the main area, they're going to be down here in these 4 spots. Here's the CPU strategy setup. By default, it's going to set it for 30 foreground frame rate and background frame rate. If you're going to raise one, make sure you raise the other, because, for example, if you have 120 foreground, this was an issue for somebody recently, they were broadcasting the mouse much faster than the background window wanted to process it. So just because you're pushing more data and it's only processing at 30 frames instead of 120 frames, so just try to make sure that they're basically matched up, and that's going to keep your game instances running smooth. So down here under CPU strategy, it may default to round robin balancing for you. The select all CPUs with every window may give you better performance. You can change this at any time through the Wizards menu. It's the CPU strategy wizard. Click Next. On the last page, leave this set to Action RPG for the control style. But we'll go ahead and run through the other options. Toggle broadcasting mode. This is the hotkey that will toggle the actual broadcasting. So if you want everybody to follow you with the mouse and whatnot, you leave this mode on. Here's a checkbox. Broadcasting mode starts on in all windows. If you uncheck this, then your toggle is only going to affect one window at a time. So for example, if you want it where you turn on broadcasting in one window and the other 3 still have it off, then this is the way that'll work. However, with broadcasting mode starts on, the toggle will affect all windows. So if you switch windows, it's going to be the same as the window you just left. So the toggle key maps, you may not use this. I'm going to show you how to add a couple of round robin buttons, and this would be useful for turning that off if you need to do something else with those buttons. Activate next window. If you want to have like a key that just switches to the next window one at a time, then this is where you would configure that hotkey. Over here, if you have an Alt-GR key on your keyboard, you'll want to make sure this is checked, and that'll stop. There's a default hotkey, Control-Alt-1, 2, 3, and 4, for switching to each of the 4 windows individually. And if you have an Alt-GR key, Alt-GR is actually Control and Alt. So if you held Alt-GR and pressed 2 to try to make the @ symbol to enter your email address, that hotkey would block that. So if you use this box, it'll make sure that you're not affected by that default hotkey. So these individual window control hotkeys, you'll want to set those for Diablo 3. It's incredibly useful. I use them all the time. So hold the control slot 1. I set that to F1. I just go down to F3, F4, and just like so. And that's pretty much it for the wizard. Click Finish. Now, one other thing before I get started. I mentioned I'm going to show you round robin. I'm going to go into the combat key map and right-click on mapped keys, and we're going to use the mapped key wizard to set up a round robin. There's lots of different types of maps you can set up. That, for example, straight key broadcast, which broadcasting mode is already going to be doing, and since we're using broadcasting mode, you won't need to use a straight key broadcast key map most of the time. But you might like the key remap. That's where, like, if you wanted to press P to send Q to the other windows or something like that, you can map one key to send a different one. But we're going to use round robin key broadcast right now. So hotkeys, I have 2 of them for my Witch Doctors team that I'm going to log into. So those are on 1 and 2. Target for keystrokes is going to go to all the windows. Hold broadcasted keys while you hold the hotkey. I don't need that since these are not movement keys. Activate hotkey when it is released by default. You can also set it to when it's pressed or released. We'll do it when you press and then again when you release. But I'll just leave it to the default and click Finish. Now, one other thing, while we're setting up these round robins, a lot of the time, or most of the time, when you're doing combat in Diablo 3, you're going to be holding Shift to make sure that all your guys are packed together. And this hotkey is just 1, so it doesn't trigger if you're holding Shift or Control or Alt. Those are considered different hotkeys. So what we need to do is right-click it and select Create Alternate Hotkey. We can do that with both of the keys. And now we can set the actual hotkey to Shift 1 for round robin 1 and Shift 2 for round robin 2. So in both these cases, that's going to perform the round robin using the alternate hotkey. So that's all I'm going to set up in IS Boxer for my team. You can save it, and you'll want to export to Interspace to be able to launch your team. Success. And down here in the Interspace menu, right-click, and under IS Boxer Character Sets, there's my D3 quad. Now I'm going to launch my team and be right back, and we'll go from there. Alright, we're back. I got my game windows up. Didn't look quite right, but just a minute for that. So the first time you launch your game instances, IS Boxer is going to take a couple extra minutes to copy the cache folder for you. And that's going to make it so it's possible to launch the multiple instances. Without it, you would not be able to multi-box this game. So, once you got the game windows up, go to the options screen and make sure that they're all set to windowed full screen. Mine's set to full screen, and that's why it doesn't look right. It doesn't match up with the window layout. And now, windowed full screen, click Accept. And you'll see that it looks beautiful now. And you'll notice at the login screen, you might have this little extra space where the game shows you what's on the left side over here on the right, repeating again. Now, that's only at the login screen. Once you're in the game, it looks perfect. There's no glitches like that. And that's just because we're not in one of the optimal resolutions for Diablo 3's login screens. So, entering your email address, you can use Remember Account Name. That's very useful. Go ahead and check that. And that'll keep your account names stored in each different window. So you'll have different account names, and it'll keep it in the different windows. So enter your email address. To do that, turn off both key maps and broadcasting. That's Shift-Alt-M for key maps and Shift-Alt-R for broadcasting, or you can click these buttons here. Valid account name, I'll go ahead and enter mine now. Okay, enter passwords. And log in. Turn key maps back on in order to use the round robin that I set up in the quick setup, or after the quick setup wizard using the map key wizard. And since my webcam is blocking my friends list right now, I'm going to use start game here and just quick join to get the rest of my guys in. Wait for that to come up. There we go. Alright, here they all are. Now you'll notice they don't start in the same spot, so you can see right away that if I try to put my cursor on something, each of my guys might be pointing at a different spot in the game, just because the character is not in exactly the same place. So if I happen to click right here, one of my guys, as you can see at the bottom, has an arrow cursor, and the others have the hand. So if I'm clicking, 3 of them are going to interact with this obelisk, and the other one's just going to move, and that'll change the way your guys move around together. And so one of the things you want to do is use space to move instead of clicking. So that way, that's the force move key in the game's key binding, and that makes sure you're not going to interact with things on one window while the others run to where you clicked. So while I'm here, I'll go ahead and repair. I have a bunch of crap, but I'm not going to take care of that right now. I'm going to go straight into combat. So I'll go over to Act 3. So the first thing, get my pets up here. First thing that you'll learn once you're starting the multi-box is in order to keep your guys together while you're in combat, you're going to have to hold shift in order to do your attacks. So if you're melee, that might get a little bit annoying, but yeah, it's very simple to keep everybody together. And you will get split up while you're playing, and in order to get back together, you're going to want to run to a corner or something that makes it easy to bunch up again, because individually controlling while you're in the middle of a difficult fight, man, it's kind of annoying. Controlling an individual window is very difficult while you're in the middle of a fight. Sometimes it's necessary. Here we go. Got all my guys bunched up again. Here we go. So there are times when it takes a little bit extra effort, but in general, your guys will stay together as long as you have the same movement speed. So I'll go in here and show you mine real quick. Movement speed. This guy, well, right now it's got 30, 31, 32, 31 from the buff right there. That wears off. I'm at 10, 11, 12, and 1. So as long as they're within a couple of percentage points, your guys will basically stay in the same spot. Let's say if one's got 10% or 30% and the others are at 0, then one guy's just going to be shooting across the screen, and the others are going to not be in the same spot. So that's, you want to keep your movement speed about the same. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it needs to be pretty close. So as you can see, I'm using my round robin, and only one of my guys will use each of these round robin abilities at a time. So I've got Big Bad Voodoo on cooldown here, and my other guys have it on a different cooldown or not on cooldown at all. So that's something. That's most of the game. Watching loot is another popular question. I mean, by default, you're going to hear the sounds from each of the game windows. So if a legendary drops, I mean, you're going to hear the ka-chunk sound or whatever the sound is. You'll be able to look around for it. I can see all 4 of my screens, so I can just tap Alt and look around for the text in blue or yellow or green, orange, the different colors. And then I can use hold to control. I can switch to each of the screens and hold to control and control one guy at a time while I'm looting. And so it's kind of a pain in order to pick up all the loot that drops, but I mean, if you're looking for legendaries, that's important to you, and you're going to have to spend a little bit of time on it, figuring out the best way for you to pick up the loot and identify the loot. Another thing that's possible, you can set up a view of each of your mini-maps using video effects, and that's covered in a different video. So if you want to set that up, check it out, video effects at isboxer.com. And so it's just a very easy game to get started multi-boxing. I did practically nothing to get started here, just talk to you a lot and about the different things that you might be interested in, and things that can go wrong. Syncing up and looting are the main things. So if you get split up, just run into a corner once again. And it's not always that easy. You can see I just failed completely because the way the geometry was around that box. But yeah, it's really not that hard. It takes some getting used to. You're learning a new style of gameplay. That's expected. But as you can see, I mean, it's just very easy to get started, get in here, and destroy things. So that's basically it. I mean, if you have questions or things don't work out the way you think, or just need some help, come on down to the ISBoxer chat room, the isboxer.com forums, and we'll get you squared away. Thanks, guys, for watching the video. Have fun multi-boxing Diablo 3.